hips don't lie. As Shakira said, if they're not moving, something isn't working. If they're shaking, we're in good shape. The hips are a combination of bones, muscles, tendons, and nerves that connect the upper and lower portion of the body. If there are problems in the lower body, the hips know it. If there are problems in the upper body, the hips know it. And if there are problems with your hips, well, then you're going to have a lot of problems. For all the stability and mobility the hips provide us, they're a funny part of the body. The 3 parts of the pelvic girdle and the 2 parts of the pelvic spine protect internal organs like the intestines, bear the entire weight of the upper body, and bear the weight of a baby when someone is pregnant. The hips do all of this despite the fact that the 3 bones that make up the pelvic girdle, the ilium, ischium, and pubis, are only cartilage until we hit puberty and they fuse together. Even then, the remaining cartilage can wear out from usage. Then there's the fact that the weight of our hips, the weight that the hips bear, changes depending on the position of the torso and the legs, which can cause more wear and tear. Also, the hip joint, where the femur, aka the thigh bone, connects to the hip bone, allows the legs to essentially move 360 degrees. But it does so in a way that strains itself and the joints of the lower body. Finally, there's all this space in and around the hip bones. It's functional space, essential space, and it's just the right amount of space to get twisted up with a nerve and or a tendon, which can be really, really painful. All of this might lead one to think that the key to hip health is not moving. But the key to hip health is exactly the opposite. We have to move. The hips are one of the places where we have to use it or we lose it. Energetically speaking, emotionally and symbolically speaking, the second chakra includes the hips, genitals, and lower abdominal cavity, as well as our viscera and abdominal organs. It is often associated with the relationship we make with those outside of our first family, tribe, and community of birth, as well as, I say, with those relationships we make with our first family once we're adults. Anna Day Judith also highlights our connection to pleasure, creativity, and the sweetness of life. Carolyn Meese specifically references power, money, and the ethics of relationships. Consider for a moment how where you come from, where you start in life, factors into how you make relationships and with whom you make relationships. Consider how the lessons we all learn as children determines how we conduct ourselves as we mature, which in turn determines how we move through the world. Metaphorically speaking, do you move through life with ease and grace? How do you balance your wants and desires and the wants and desires of those around you? Is it easier for you to balance when people around you look like you and think like you? Maybe, probably, but that's not how the world works. Just like our hips are made of really different parts that have to work together, the world is made up of really different people that have to work together. As I mentioned in the last video, Waking, a memoir of trauma and transcendence, includes the story of the accident that changed Matthew Sanford's family, changed his young body, changed his childhood, changed his life. He also wrote about being paralyzed from the chest down and how the injuries to his body affected the most basic aspects of his life. He also changed his relationships, and in some very obvious ways, the way he moved through the world. However, there were some less obvious ways that changed. In chapter 12, he wrote about his first yoga teacher and his first yoga practice. He wrote about moving his legs in a position they hadn't been in since he was a child. Whenever I think about that moment, I think about the changes in his hips and the changes in his relationships. One of the things that is so powerful and so profound about this particular healing story is how that moment came about because of interpersonal relationships. A friend said he might find yoga helpful. A teacher said, move in this way you think you can no longer move. And from that movement, Matthew Sanford would eventually start sharing his practice with others, building relationships to create more relationships. Ultimately, that's one of the powers of yoga and one of the secrets behind mind-body solutions. Relationships built on a desire to better understand and access our mind-body are relationships that facilitate better understanding and access of our humanity. This is my second offering for the 9th annual Kiss My Asana Yogathon that benefits Mind Body Solutions. Let's do yoga, share yoga, and help others.